It's late at night. You sit alone with your thoughts, and that familiar urge starts creeping in. A whisper in your mind says, "Just one peek?" This is the moment of truth. This is where you choose freedom over slavery, growth over regression. You've come a long way to break free from porn's grip. Now let's make sure you never go back. Remember why you started this journey. Perhaps you sensed that porn wasn't so harmless after all. You noticed it controlling you. The wasted hours, the lost motivation, the hollow feeling afterward. Society might laugh it off and claim everyone watches porn, that it's just a bit of fun. But you know better now. You've seen the darker side, how it seeps into your mind and takes control when you're not looking. Porn isn't just some innocent distraction, it's a drug. A high-speed digital drug that floods your brain with dopamine, the pleasure chemical. Each video, each click hits your brain like a surge of lightning. At first it feels exciting, intensely satisfying. Your brain lights up, saying, yes, this is good, this is pleasure. But here's the truth. That surge of dopamine is unnaturally high, a spike beyond what real life can normally provide, and your brain, in all its evolutionary wisdom, thinks it has struck gold. You see, your brain is wired for survival and reproduction. When you experience something pleasurable, like eating or intimacy, your brain rewards you with dopamine to reinforce that behavior. It wants you to remember what led to that good feeling, so you'll do it again. In a natural setting, this mechanism keeps us alive and ensures we seek out what we need. But porn hijacks this ancient system. It tricks your brain into thinking you've stumbled upon an endless buffet of mates, an unlimited opportunity to pass on your genes. New video, new partner, another dopamine hit, and another, and another. Before you know it, your brain is hooked. It craves that dopamine rush intensely, and when you try to stop, you feel restless, irritable, empty. That's not just psychological. It's chemical. Over time, those constant dopamine floods from porn have overworked your brain's reward circuit. Receptors in your brain, the parts that receive dopamine's message, start to shut down or become less sensitive, a protective measure against the overload. It's as if the brain says, "This is too much pleasure, let's dial it back." So the next time you seek joy from something, you need more to feel it. The things that used to excite you, a movie, a walk outside, meeting friends, barely register now. Even porn itself gives less thrill than before. So you seek out more extreme videos, longer sessions, just to chase that original high. This is the cycle of addiction, unfolding silently in your neural pathways. Think about it. Have you noticed how what excited you in the beginning of your porn use might hardly affect you now? Perhaps once just a glance at a picture was enough, but now you find yourself searching for that perfect video or more intense content, spending hours. It wasn't you who changed, it was your brain chemistry. Porn literally rewired your brain, molding it to need constant novelty and stimulation. And as it did, it took control of you. It whispered to you in moments of boredom or stress, pulling your strings like a master does a puppet. It made you believe you wanted it, that you were choosing it, while all along it was hacking your biological drive. Mainstream culture might still say you're overthinking it. Porn is normal, everyone does it. It's not a real addiction, they claim. But look at your own experience. The compulsion, the loss of control, the way it interfered with your life. Is that normal? Is it normal to feel unable to stop even when a part of you desperately wants to? To watch your confidence drain away and your real relationships suffer? There's nothing normal about a habit that steals your free will and diminishes your joy in living. Let's expose more of the truth. Porn does not just entertain you, it conditions you. It trains you to expect constant arousal at the click of a button, something real life will never provide. It makes a real human relationship, which requires patience, understanding, and effort, seem dull by comparison. How can a single partner compete with the endless harem of novelty your screen offers? How can genuine intimacy, with its occasional awkwardness and need for vulnerability, stack up against the perfectly scripted, always available scenes online? It can't, unless you rewire your brain back to reality. And that is exactly what you either have begun to do or are ready to do now. You have broken free, even if just for one day, and tasted life without porn. Maybe you've noticed some changes already. Perhaps your mind feels a bit clearer, or you have more energy, or you feel more present when talking with others. These are signs of your brain starting to heal, the dopamine balance slowly returning to normal. But make no mistake, the battle isn't over. The enemy, that old habit, those neural pathways reinforced over years, is lurking, waiting for a moment of weakness to pull you back in. Avoiding relapse is an active, ongoing process, especially in the early days of freedom. But it can be done. Thousands have done it, and so can you. So how do you stay free? How do you turn a hard-fought victory into a lifelong change? The roadmap unfolds in several parts, woven together into one journey of transformation. It starts with giving your brain the time and conditions it needs to rewire itself. Think of it as a detox or a reboot for your mind. Remember all that dopamine flooding and receptor shutdown we talked about? The only way to fix that is to stop the floods, to let your brain rest and recalibrate. That means staying away from pornography, yes, and even from related temptations that spike that same circuit. In practical terms, it's a commitment to abstain day by day while your brain heals. This may sound daunting, but consider this. Every day you resist porn is a day you reclaim more control of your brain. It's like a muscle that has atrophied. With each day of exercise, it grows stronger. In the beginning, you might feel withdrawal, and that's perfectly normal. Some days, you might feel depressed or anxious for no clear reason, find it hard to enjoy things. You might even experience what's known as a flat line, a period where your sexual desire seems to vanish and things that should excite you don't. This is your brain adjusting, recalibrating its reward system after being overstimulated for so long. It can be unsettling, but it's temporary. It's your brain's way of healing. During this time, be patient with yourself. You might be tempted to think, see, life is boring without porn. I feel worse, so maybe I should just go back. Don't fall for that trap. It's the addiction talking, not reality. Imagine you've been blasting loud music in your ears for hours and then you turn it off. At first, the silence is jarring. You might even hear ringing in your ears, but give it time and your hearing adjusts back to normal. Likewise, when you cut out the blaring stimulation of porn, life feels quiet, even a bit dull at first, but soon the subtle sounds of real life, real pleasure, real motivation, real excitement start to come back. The laughter with a friend, the satisfaction of finishing a project, the warmth of a hug, these things begin to register joy in your mind again. Colors look brighter, your emotions stabilize, your focus returns. This is the process of rewiring, and it's nothing short of transformative if you stick with it. While your brain is rebooting, help it out by flooding your life with healthy sources of dopamine and serotonin, the brain's feel-good chemicals in balanced doses. Exercise, for example, is a fantastic way to boost your mood and restore your dopamine sensitivity. A good workout or even a brisk walk releases endorphins and gives you a sense of accomplishment. Get outside if you can. Sunlight literally helps your brain chemistry, and nature has a calming, healing effect on a frazzled mind. Engage in hobbies or work that you find meaningful. The focus and small successes there will start to replace the artificial reward porn used to give you. These activities might seem less immediately thrilling than porn, because they are, but their effects are real and lasting, and as your brain heals, you will find more and more satisfaction in them. Next on this road to lasting freedom is recognizing and avoiding your triggers. Triggers are the situations, feelings, or even times of day that whisper to your mind, "Hey, porn would be a good idea right now." You must become a detective of your own habits. Does boredom make you reach for your phone? Does stress at work or feelings of loneliness drive you to seek that quick escape? Maybe it's when you're up late at night or when you feel rejected or anxious. Perhaps it's as simple as lying in bed with your smartphone, temptation just a few taps away. Identify those moments. Write them down, even bring them from the subconscious into the light. Now plan, like a general preparing for battle, how you will diffuse each trigger. If boredom is a trigger, plan your leisure time. Keep a list of alternative activities that you genuinely enjoy or find engaging. It could be anything: playing a musical instrument, reading a gripping novel, hitting the gym, or even immersing yourself in a video game, one that doesn't lead you down an internet rabbit hole. If stress is a trigger, practice healthier stress relief techniques. A quick meditation or some deep breathing, a few minutes of stretching, or writing your thoughts in a journal to vent. If loneliness is a trigger, make an effort to reach out to someone. Call a friend or family member just to chat, or step out to a cafe or a park where you're around people, even if you don't know them. Physical environment matters too. If you often found yourself slipping in the privacy of your bedroom at midnight, change something about that environment. Set a rule: no phones or computers in bed. Charge your devices in another room at night. If your computer is a gateway, consider installing accountability software or filters that make it harder to access porn. Anything that introduces a moment of friction where you have to really think before you act. Some people even go as far as keeping their computer in a more public part of the house, so secrecy is reduced. Remember, these aren't signs of weakness. They're strategies of someone determined to stay strong. A recovering alcoholic wouldn't keep bottles of whiskey on their nightstand. Likewise, don't keep temptation within easy reach. Make it just a bit harder for that autopilot habit to take over, so that you have a chance to take control in the moment of decision. Also, be mindful of the digital content you consume in general. Social media feeds, streaming shows, advertisements. Nowadays, any of these can surprise you with sexual imagery that triggers cravings. You might be scrolling innocently, and suddenly, a suggestive video or picture pops up. In the early stages of recovery, consider pruning your social media or avoiding sites with a lot of provocative content. It's not forever, but until you're more stable, it's better to play it safe. Curate your online experience. Unfollow accounts that post tempting images, use ad blockers, maybe stick to platforms or communities that support your goals. Feed your mind positive, uplifting content instead. Now, let's talk about something equally important: real-world intimacy and connection. Porn is a mirage of intimacy. It looks like sex, it sounds like sex, but it's an illusion. You may have used it to fill a void, to feel for a moment some semblance of connection without the complexity of a real relationship, but we both know it never truly satisfies. The loneliness remains. Often, it gets worse. Real intimacy is the antidote, and nurturing it is a cornerstone of staying porn-free. If you're in a relationship, you have an opportunity to refocus on your partner in a way you maybe haven't in a long time. Be present with them. Practice being truly with them, heart and mind, when you're together. Whether you're having deep conversations or just cooking dinner or watching a show on the couch. Rebuild that emotional closeness. You might need to be honest with them if you haven't already, about your struggle and your commitment to change. It can be scary to open up, but honesty can deepen trust, and you may find them more supportive than you expected. As you distance yourself from porn, you may notice your attraction to your partner begins to rekindle, like glowing embers coming back to life. It might happen gradually. You may need to re-educate your brain to respond to the real sights, sounds, and touches of your partner. Be patient in the bedroom. You could have some challenges at first, but work through them together. The human body and heart have an amazing capacity to heal and respond when given the chance. If you're single, building intimacy might mean something different for now. It could be strengthening friendships and family bonds, or putting yourself out there to date when you're ready. The key is human connection. Spend time with friends, do activities that involve others, join a class or group based on your interests, whether it's a sports team, a dance class, a hiking group, anything that brings you together with people. These interactions, even if not romantic, will remind your brain that real human contact and socializing have their own rewarding buzz. You laugh with friends, you feel you belong. That's another kind of dopamine and a dose of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, that your brain absolutely needs. Those chemicals help replace the false fix of porn with the genuine warmth of friendship and camaraderie. As you connect more in the real world, you'll likely find your confidence growing. The more time you spend away from porn, the more you'll realize you're not missing out on anything. In fact, you're finally living. You start to look people in the eye more, hold your head up higher, because you're not carrying that secret shame, not feeling like you're living a double life. You're aligning your actions with your values, and that brings self-respect. And let me tell you, self-respect is a powerful shield against relapse. When you value yourself and what you're building in your life, throwing it away for a few minutes of artificial pleasure starts to feel unthinkable. There will come a point, if it hasn't happened already, when a thought pops into your head. Maybe I'm cured now. I've been good for a while. I could probably handle just a little porn and not go back to the old ways. This is a huge crossroads, and many good people have taken the wrong turn here. That voice is the addiction lying in wait, using your own confidence against you. It's trying to lure you into a trap of complacency. Do not listen. Remind yourself that your addiction is not gone. It's just dormant. doing push-ups in the background, waiting for you to let your guard down. You can't be cured in the sense that you can then safely consume porn like you never had an issue. Once your brain has been down that road of addiction, it will always recognize that pathway. One peek, one click, and that pathway could light up again like dry grass catching fire. Instead of complacency, cultivate humility and vigilance. Recognize that you're not missing out on anything by not watching porn. You're learning to face life head-on, and you're strong enough to handle reality. Remind yourself of the pain porn caused you, the way it made you feel empty, the way it sucked away your time and energy, the guilt, the lost opportunities. Those consequences are not worth any brief thrill. Keep those memories fresh, not to dwell in negativity, but to reinforce why you chose freedom in the first place. Now, let's prepare for the possibility of a slip. The goal is to avoid relapse entirely, of course, but life is messy, and recovery is rarely a straight line. Sometimes, despite all your efforts, you might stumble. Maybe you have a moment of weakness, and you watch porn again. If that happens, you need to know it is not the end of the journey. It doesn't undo all your progress unless you allow it to turn into a full relapse. Think of it like dropping your phone. You wouldn't smash it in anger, you'd pick it up and protect it. Treat a slip the same way, stop immediately, and prevent further damage. Close the browser, turn off the device, step away, and take a deep breath. Don't let a slip turn into a binge. The sooner you halt, the smaller the setback. Next, resist the avalanche of shame that might follow. Shame can be toxic. It's okay to feel a little guilt. That's your conscience reminding you this isn't what you truly want. But don't spiral into self-hatred. Instead, analyze it calmly. What triggered me? What was I feeling? What can I do next time to avoid this? Every slip can teach you about your vulnerabilities. Maybe you were too confident and removed your safeguards. Maybe you were exhausted and not thinking straight. Maybe something upset you emotionally. Learn from it, adjust your plan, and then forgive yourself. Recommit immediately to your path of freedom. One step back, 2 steps forward. Many people slip up in recovery. The ones who succeed are those who keep going, who use failure as feedback rather than as an excuse to give up. Now it's time to put it all into action in a concrete way. This is where I challenge you, yes, challenge you, to solidify your commitment. I challenge you to 21 days of freedom. 21 days, no porn, no excuses, starting now. Why 21 days? There's nothing magical about the number itself, but it's a very good start. It's 3 weeks, long enough to break old patterns and feel real changes, but short enough to be absolutely achievable starting today. Think about it. 3 weeks from now, you could be a very different person. Clearer mind, more energy, more self-respect, and most importantly, you'll have proof to yourself that you can win, that you can go without porn and life doesn't fall apart. In fact, it gets better. So take out a calendar or open up your planner. Day 1 starts now, or tomorrow morning if you want a clean slate. Draw a big red X through each day after you conquer it. Treat it like taking medicine or sticking to a training routine. Non-negotiable. When the urges come, and they will, remember you've committed to this 21-day mission, not just to avoid porn, but to actively reboot and improve your life in these 21 days. Because it's not only about avoiding something, it's about creating something new in its place. During these 3 weeks, double down on all those positive habits we talked about. Get out and sweat a bit each day if you can. Even if it's just a quick jog, get that blood flowing and shake off stress. Fill at least some of your free time with a hobby or by learning something new. It could be anything. Learn a language, start a little project, read a book you've been meaning to, work on a skill, or put extra focus into your work or studies. Every minute you pour into these things is a minute taken back from porn. And take time to reflect deeply during this challenge. Keep a short journal each day about how you feel, noting any improvements or struggles. This will help you process your journey and remind you of the progress you're making. Some days might feel easy, others hard, but when you see that string of X's on your calendar and those journal entries, you'll realize you are in control, not the porn. At the end of 21 days, sit down and truly assess. How do you feel now compared to before? What has improved? How is your mind? How is your heart? If you're feeling better, even a little, consider extending the challenge to 30 days, 60 days, or making it open-ended. By then, it might not even feel like a challenge anymore because you'll have momentum. Many people find that once they hit a certain stride, they never want to go back because life is just better without the constant drain of porn. As you undertake this challenge, engage in some deep self-reflection, the kind that can really set you free. Ask yourself the tough questions and answer honestly. Writing down your thoughts can help. Why did porn have such a pull on you? Was it just the physical pleasure, or were you seeking comfort from pain and stress in your life? What emotions or situations most often drove you to it? Loneliness? Boredom? Anger? Stress? And crucially, how can you address those needs or emotions in a healthy way instead? If you were lonely, how can you find connection? If you were stressed, how can you find relief or solve the underlying problems? If you were chasing pleasure or excitement, how can you get that in ways that enrich your life? Through creativity, adventure, learning new things. Also, reflect on what porn has cost you. Be brutally honest here, not to guilt trip yourself, but to see the reality. Maybe it stole hours of your day that you could have spent building your dream career or honing a talent. Maybe it kept you from approaching potential partners or strained an existing relationship. Maybe it drained your confidence and made you feel guilt or shame that held you back from fully enjoying life. When you see the costs laid out, it reinforces your resolve to never go back. Now, envision your future without porn. Picture yourself 6 months from now or a year having stayed strong. What do you see? Maybe you've achieved something significant in that time. Learned a new skill, earned a promotion, built a great relationship because you had the time, energy, and focus to do it. See the version of you who has no secrets to hide, who wakes up fresh and motivated, who approaches others with confidence and warmth, whose sexuality is integrated into a healthy life rather than isolated on a screen. That is the real you, the one porn was keeping locked away. That's the life that awaits once you break these chains for good. As you finish listening to this, remember, knowledge is power, but only applied knowledge can change your life. You have the knowledge now. You know porn's tricks, how it captured you, how it harmed you, and you know how to fight back and stay free. Now you must apply it consistently. This journey will have its tough moments, but you are equipped to handle them. You are stronger than your urges. Every temptation resisted, every trigger navigated, every day you choose real life over fantasy, You are forging a new path in your brain, a path of freedom. You are reclaiming your mind, your time, your relationships, your life. What could be more worth the effort? So the next time temptation knocks, take a deep breath. Look it in the eye and say, "No, I'm in control now." Let that urge pass like a dark cloud drifting away, and watch as the sky clears and you remain standing. Each time you do that, you reinforce the new you. Pornography does not define you. It is not your master. It never truly was. It only had the power you gave it. And now you're taking that power back, day by day, step by step. Embrace this challenge. Embrace the discomfort of growth, knowing it's the feeling of chains breaking. Embrace the vision of yourself as someone who is free, confident, and fully alive, because that's who you really are, underneath any addiction. Your brain is healing, your heart is opening, your future is waiting. No more living in the shadows. Step into the light of your new life and don't look back. The journey is yours to continue, one day at a time, and we are all rooting for you. Now go forth and reclaim your freedom. Your time is now. The best version of you is within reach. Go and claim it and never let it go.